Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. And yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Thursday morning, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Guys, again, please bear with me. The pollen has me a little blah again. But it's okay. I don't feel like how I sound. um, excuse me. I want to talk to you all about prioritizing your mental health. And I was speaking with a young lady last night, actually via Zoom, and she is in a relationship, right? So this topic is definitely not about relationships per se, but she's in a relationship, and it's someone who's using reverse psychology on her. Basically, she had facts in his face, not to even be dramatic. I'm trying to explain the email. She has facts in his face, and he's still, not only is he still lying about the facts, he's flipping it on her, which I call reverse psychology, right? So I want to speak about it from that angle, as well as prioritizing your mental health. It doesn't have to be someone you're in a relationship with. This can be someone in your own household. This can be a friend, someone on your job, whatever. Family is huge in this area for many of us. So yeah, let me just start. I want to say this right here. First thing first, you will not start to make changes until you have had enough. You will not start to make changes until you have had enough. It's almost like, sadly, you got to get to the point of no return before you really start to make changes. Now, mind you, everyone is different. Everyone is different. And I want to also talk about that. You got individuals who they can deal with a lot, they can tolerate a lot of nonsense, and it's almost like they can really stick around for a very, very long time without getting frustrated. I want to talk about those individuals, and then you have the individuals like myself who give everything in the beginning, in the middle, right? But at the end, only Jesus can send you back. Only Jesus can send you back. And then you're going to be going back and forth with Jesus because you don't want to go back and you refuse to go back, right? That type of thing. So I want to talk about all that. So I'm trying to make a point that we all are different for different reasons. We're all just different people. You also asked me, that just popped in my head. You also asked me, how did you word it? But it was something in the sense of, because you said you're like me, right? Give everything beginning, middle, end, but beginning, middle, but you're done at the end. You asked me what to break down why I think that happens, because you're like that too. And I think you were trying to compare yourself with a friend who can tolerate some things but still work things out at the end. Right? At the end, meaning like when that person is crying or pleading or trying to beg or whatever, she can still work it out towards the end. But you wanted me to try to explain why people like you and I, at the end, nobody can even talk to you about it. I think it's because, I'll speak from my point of view, I think it's because, see, when you're giving in that beginning, in that middle, you're giving genuinely. Right? You're moving genuinely from love, from respect, from spirit. You're moving from a good place. Where sometimes you have a group of individuals who are the complete opposite of us. They're very guarded, and they're very, very, it's almost like you have to prove, if you will, prove yourself to them. So they're able to hold like almost like a shield up. So they're not giving as much in the beginning, in the middle. But with them, when you start to prove yourself and over time, and then that shield or that wall starts to come down, then that's when they give everything because you've proven yourself. Excuse me. But people like me and you is like, okay, And not to say that we're going to sit there and put all our trust out there and just be a fool, because people are people, right? But so it's not even about trusting people. It's about giving all of yourself, right? Because trust have to be proven whichever scenario you are, right? But it's about giving all of yourself, selflessly. And so what happens is, once you get to the end of that relationship or that assignment or whatever it is, you have nothing left to give, because you gave it all in the beginning, in the middle. You gave all of yourself, all of you. So at the end, there's nothing to give. And then again, on the flip side, the people on the other spectrum of us, they have everything to give at the end. That's why they will love on you to the point of like, it's like, okay, please back off of me a little bit. They will love on you like crazy at the back end, because they didn't give all in the beginning and the middle. So in all fairness, people like yourself and myself, it's not like we just walk away without warning. Fact of the matter is, we've warned too much. We warn more than what we should, to be honest, because really that should just really be a one-time conversation. Like, hey, listen, okay, we all are different. This is how I am. Okay, I understand you see this big heart. I understand you see this giving spirit. I understand that you see all of this, but please understand that there's another side. And when I'm done, I'm done. All right. So in reality, we tell people this. But remember, most time people goes by your action. So even though you tell people this, it's almost like it goes in one ear and out the other. So when you decide to dip for good, then it's almost like that's when they remember what you said. Now it's hitting them like, you know what? She did say at one point, when she's done, she's done. But I didn't think that, because the way she moves. Because see, you got to be very careful, especially when you're being used for purpose and calling. People will see your heart and see your emotion, and they know that God uses you. So some people, sadly, will try to manipulate you in that form. But again, this is why you stay spiritually connected. Because if you're spiritually connected, God will always bring it back to you. He will always convict you. He will always pull you back. Now, if you listen, if you're obedient, then that's up to you. If you're not obedient, then yes, it will continue to happen. Yes, you will continue to get your heart broken. Yes, reverse psychology will be used on you, etc. So your job is to be obedient from the conviction. So that's why we have nothing in the end. We're empty in the end. We're empty. And that's not to say that you hate the person, or you have you wish them harm, like none of that. It's still all love. It's just that I'm empty, and I have no desire to be backfilled. So this is why it's important to make sure you identify the type of individual you're dealing with early on. Like I have this conversation with people all the time. Like, listen, what are your vices? How do you move in a sense of what frustrates you? Like, you got to really communicate to figure out what you're dealing with. That way you can have a constant reminder, like, well, I don't want to, like, you got some people, for example, you got some people who, if they're frustrated with you, or like there's something going on, like they will tell you in whatever way they tell you, right? You might be a mouthy person, or you might be somebody who likes to sit down to a table and communicate effectively and properly by having a conversation, not cutting each other off, looking each other in the eye. For me, let me tell you, maybe this will help somebody. Okay, for me, because remember now, we all are who we are. I'm a firm believer in not trying to change people, but we do have to find a way to polish certain areas, etc. Okay, so for me, I'm a person that I have a bad time. I'm so much better now, but I still struggle. I have a bad time cutting people off when they're talking. So we can be in the middle of a conversation, right? But it's almost like, it's crazy. I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or just a flesh thing. I don't know. But I already know what they're about to say. it's almost like the spirit gives me what they're about to say. Or better yet, if they're struggling to say it, like they're trying to find the words, well, my spirit picks up on what it is that they're trying to say. And versus me being patient to let them get it out, I'm already speaking it. And then they're like, yes, that's what I'm trying to say. But it's still cutting people off, right? So what I now decide to do, I've been doing this for about for about 8 months, is I keep a memo pad. Let it be in my purse, or when we're sitting down having this meeting of the minds type of meeting, and I will literally have my pen and my paper as I'm speaking to someone, and I jot down what it is I want to say and what my thoughts are feeling, so I don't cut them off. But then I can go back and I can look at it when it's my time to speak. I can go back and look at the things that I jot down. Okay, so you got these people who communicate properly, but then you have a group of people who don't say anything. I mean, they're side-eyeing you. They don't even like you today, but they're not saying absolutely anything. And you're just like, why are you being petty? Why are you acting funny? Like, what did I do now? Right? Like, you're like, but they're not saying anything. And to me, that's the most frustrating. Oh, that is the most frustrating for me. I don't know why. Maybe because I speak my mind, and I don't know. Please tell me what you did. Could you tell me why you're mad? Could you tell me why you're side-eyeing me? Just tell me. Let me work it out. I'll make it right. Just tell me. But so you got these kind of people as well. So again, everybody's different. But sis, people like me and you, I promise you, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Excuse me. Anyone who knows me personally, my staff, especially my staff, because I have this conversation with them all the time. My staff, even my assignments. I had this conversation with Steve 2 weeks ago, and he's chopped off. I'll talk about that. But I have this conversation with people all the time. I don't just tell them. I almost beg them. I'm like, listen, you know I'm fond of you, but I promise you, I'm at the middle. I'm not even at the beginning. I'm at the middle of frustration. I'm telling you, and I'm begging you. Please correct this area for the 9th time. Really, it should only be for the 2nd, 3rd time, because we all are human, and sometimes it takes people to, But we're on the 9th time here, and I'm begging you. I'm almost at 5% with you. When I'm done, I'm done. I don't care if you're hanging on to my ankles. When I'm done, I'm done. Please work on this area. Because when I'm done, it's not that I even want to be done. It's just, it is what it is. It just, I feel nothing, right? And I believe it's spiritual. God is saying, well, listen, no. You're done here because you've given them more opportunity than I really wanted you to give. But because now you can't leave it because of your little heart and your little, I'll snatch it away from you. I'll snatch those feelings of wanting to care from you. So I have this conversation with people all the time, in all fairness, only because I know me. Most people, no, half corrected. Like I have a staff. Lord, I love her so much. But again, she's learning that regardless of how fond I am, we can talk about God all day long. We can have a good time. But when you hit this clock, I'm not playing no games, period, right? Because I'm going to steward what God have blessed me with correctly. But, I love her because we can have this conversation. Like, listen, I'm telling you, I'm still in that first half with you because you haven't been here that long, right? But listen, work with your girl because I'm telling you what could happen. I'm telling you what has happened. And I'm telling you, boom, she's on it. She is on it. She's not playing no games. She is on it. And even if something else come up, and which it has, guess what? It's a different something. So then she have a fresh slate at this point because it's something different. But it's that same repetitive thing that I'm addressing over and over and is causing me to be extremely frustrated to the point of anxiety, anger, all this stuff, ding, 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 mental health, all that stuff. So when it's the same thing, that's when it builds. I can deal with different issues all day long, for real. But if it's that same thing, and now you're obviously disrespecting me because you, but then yet when the keys is in the hand, right, and your purse is, oh, now you want to crawl and beg. Listen, go talk to Jesus, because I don't have the words for you. Go talk to Jesus. All right, so that's why we're like that, sis. But please don't try to change who you are. For anybody who's currently in a situation where anybody, I don't care who it is, they're constantly causing your mental health, to be triggered. Let it be through anxiety, frustration, reverse psychology. You got the facts in their face and they're still lying. Like, dude, it's a freaking video of you. How can you lie about a video? It's a video. It's not even a word of mouth or a rumor. I got the camera in your face and you're still saying that's not you. You tried it. Oh, you tried it. You tried it. But when I walk out this door, don't call me begging me to go talk to the pastor, go to church, go talk to your mama. No. When I'm done. Point blank, period. So, but in all seriousness, if any of you are dealing with that, please, because here's the thing, life itself will trigger mental illness. I mean, listen, people are full of anxiety because we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know. I mean, all we can do is trust God, period, right? But still, anxiety is flared up, right? You got people going through depression, lots of it, for different reasons. Like, there's already enough stuff that life itself can bring on us. And now you got someone who's constantly triggering you. Well, what trigger you may not trigger me, vice versa. So you know what your triggers are. What is literally triggering your mental health? Is it that job that keeps disrespecting you by, I don't know, having you there 15 years, it's supposed to give you a raise, it didn't give you a raise, but then the person across the hall got a raise, or they're calling you, work hours are 9 to 5, but they're blowing your phone up 9, 10 o'clock at night, you're with your family, and they're asking you about where did you put the buns on which, and it's a constant thing, not a one-time thing, just constant, where it's frustrating you. Well, you may be someone who's fine with answering the phone at 10 o'clock at night talking about buns every week. That may not bother you, right? You may just be a very patient person. That doesn't trigger you. Where you may have someone else who have 5 children under the age of 5. My God, what were you doing? 5 children under the age of 5. And, trying to sit down and do the family thing at the dinner table and have family night of watching a movie or whatever. And every night you're calling my phone about where the buns. On which cabinet. Now I get off the phone with you. My husband is annoyed because I keep answering the phone and he's telling me work hours are 9 to 5. The children yelling in the background, acting a fool. Like, it's too much. It's too much. Leave me alone. About buns, don't call my phone from 9 to 5, period. If that is a trigger for you. So you got to sit down. You have to take inventory of the things that trigger you. Okay, so Steve, I use him as an example since we all know his old onion head, right? So I use him as an example, but there's 30,000 different things that can trigger me in a sense on how I let it slide, and then I eventually cut it off. Okay. Now, without a doubt, you guys know I'm very fond of Steve. You know this backstory. I met him. He had icicles basically on him, etc. The only thing I heard spiritually again was make sure he don't starve to death. He don't freeze to death. More than anything, don't freeze to death. Don't starve to death. That's it. That is it. That's my only responsibilities. But of course, over time, he doesn't have a lot of family and etc. etc. Then I started to cross those boundaries. In all fairness, it's me, Lord, it's me. checking medications, appointments, etc., taking food from whole food so he can make sure he's eating more healthy, where he's not feeding the cancer, all this stuff. That's just me. That is not what God told me to do. That's just me. And that's another thing. We have to be sure we're taking accountability, because we want to start accusing people of not honoring and respecting certain things. And even though they should, right? Because that's just the right thing to do if you have some type of integrity, but whatever. But that's not what God told us to do. So we got to stop holding people accountability when we're going out of the way. That's on us. I had 2 jobs. 2 jobs, Kizzy. Don't freeze to death. Don't starve to death. So recently, let me fast forward. So recently, my spirit has been pinging, which again, this is why you got to stay spiritually aligned, because God will alert you with certain things. When it comes down to certain things, when you're spiritually aligned, you don't have to dig for anything. I promise you, God will alert you. Just stay connected. You don't have to dig and go all that nonsense. Okay, so I don't know why I was feeling it in my spirit, but I went by his room. This was Friday, last Friday. So when I walked in the room, he was just looking at me like, oh, what I done did now, right? So I looked over and I saw a stack of lotto cards. But see, he didn't know I was coming. I typically don't pop up, but I popped up Friday. So there's a stack of lottery tickets that he done scratch off. And so I said, listen, I said, hear me, please, and hear me well. I'm not accusing you of anything because I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm feeling in my spirit, and I want to warn you just in case. Because when I'm done, I'm done. And that's going to be, that's going to be it in the sense of you having access to me. So I said, so I give him the whole breakdown on what I just did about the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I told him, I'm at the middle with you. I'm at the middle with you because when I first met you, Steve was doing absolutely amazing. Again, never left his room, only watched TV, watched his Bible. But that's just like anybody in any relationship. At the beginning, they're like trying to prove themselves. So they're doing like everything perfect. And then once they get comfortable, they start slipping, right? Start slipping. So I said, every time I talk to you now or see you now, you're drunk as a skunk, right? A gentleman who took him out to lunch one day told me, as soon as he turned his back, Steve gave somebody $3 to go get him a pint of vodka, whatever. Okay, you're a grown man. Do what you want to do. It is what it is, right? You want to drink? What stage for cancer? Drink. But you can't be up in this hotel, falling down up in these people's floors and acting a fool. So between the lotto tickets, the drink, the room, just a hot mess. If you remember, I always complimented him in the beginning on how clean he kept that room, right? The room looking like a hot mess. He looking like a hot mess. Calling my phone all time of day. Texting my phone 3:00 in the morning. You're my quote unquote angel. And if you remember at the very beginning, Steve was only able to text me for emergencies. That's if he had to go to the ER, so I can kind of know to call and tell the people at the front counter about the room, etc., etc. He was only supposed to text me or call me in that sense, so I can be sure that the room is protected and things like that. Or if, because he got several friends who kind of sometimes pick him out, take him out to lunch. Or sometimes they'll even drop food off. So if it's a time where there's absolutely nothing to eat in his room, which is almost never, then I'll swing by and I'll, drop him off some food. That's the only time he's supposed to be texting, calling me. But he's been very, very out of balance lately. And I believe it's because he's drinking more. But I sat down Friday and I had a conversation with him. I said, I'm telling you now, Mr. Steve, I don't know what it is. But my feelings, my spirit tells me you about to be done. Well, Miss Kizzy, I ain't doing that. I didn't say you did anything. I'm just telling you what my spirit is telling me. So if you're doing something iffy, lay it on the line right now. Because if I find anything out, you can't say, because I'm giving you a fair chance. With no judgment, we will correct it here and make it right from here. No judgment, free slate. Well, I don't know. Okay. Okay. Fast forward to Sunday. Okay, again, Steve get a little bit of money per month. And every one week out the month, he's required to give me the money to pay for his room, because his check won't cover 2 weeks, so he'll give me 1 week pay. I leave him with a certain amount of money so he can pay his quote-unquote cell phone bill, which is important because of his quote-unquote nurses, doctors, calling, things like that. Of course, he have a couple of friends. He likes to go on Facebook and I think stalk his ex-wife page, not the wife who passed to heaven, but the ex-wife page. And for emergency purposes, because I travel a lot. So, maybe food or just co-pays, which he shouldn't have, but whatever, just emergency purposes. This has been going on since the beginning, 5 months. Rightfully so, I could take Steve's entire check and not leave him with 20%. I can take his entire check, rightfully so, because really, it belongs to me, right? But no, my heart, mind you, hear me, God only said he don't freeze to death and he don't starve to death. So why are you worrying about money for cell phone, co-pays, food? That's kizzy. That's all kizzy. That's all kizzy, crossing lines and crossing boundaries unintentionally. So when I question him about these scratched off lotto tickets that's the size of the Empire State Building, right? No, Miss Kizzy, I had some friends brought those. First of all, lying, because he's lying a lot lately too. I said, well, sure, okay, today is the 10th or whatever Sunday was. Okay, you just got paid not even 2 weeks ago, right? You gave me the money you gave me. Let me see how much money you got out of this 225, like 225 extra he keeps for his quote unquote cell phone bills, co-pays, etc. Oh, well, I don't have any money because I paid my cell phone bill already, and then the life insurance, so y'all don't have to bury me, etc., 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 etc. Okay, how much is your cell phone bill, Mr. Steve? I think it's 80. Give me the bill. Let me hold the bill right quick. Oh, I don't get give me your phone. I'll figure it out since you can't figure out how much let me hold the phone right quick. Happen to be $40-something. Okay, so you lie right there, right? Okay, whatever. Cancer's in your brain. Maybe, just maybe, BS, but maybe you thought it was 80-something and it's really 40-something, right? Okay, I'm going to play your game just for a second because I know when I walk out this door, oh, you about to feel it, right? Okay, so you lie right there. Next thing, where's your policy? Where's your policy? Because your children aren't here. And I can barely get them to even answer the phone maybe once every 6 months. Where's the policy? He don't have the policy. Okay, well, I don't have that information. Cool. I'll talk to your daughter whenever I talk to her. So we're still missing about $100 here. Where's $100? I'll calculate your little beers in your cigarettes, right? That's your thing, whatever. Really, it's my thing because obviously I'm paying for it, I guess. Couldn't give me nothing. But now, peep this right here. This is what made me cut him off for good. In the sense of access to me. Remember, the cell phone bill, quote unquote, he said was 80-something. I found out was 40-something. Anyway, when I left the room, my spirit told me to call one of the young ladies who was a friend of beautiful. She's a young lady where you see her and her boyfriend. The picture that was in the community page where we hung out for Super Bowl. Okay, they pick him up every Wednesday for dinner. And I do know anytime Steve have issues with his cell phone, they're like, her boyfriend is like really like tech savvy. And I'm the complete opposite. So he always deals with Steve's cell phone in that manner. So because Steve was having Steve put some type of code or something on his cell phone. So I called her to ask, well, the spirit told me to call her and ask her about Steve's cell phone, if Steve's cell phone is working yet because of the code. And she said, I don't know what's going on with him lately, but he keeps putting this code on his phone, like he don't want people in his phone. And she's like, I don't understand. So he can't remember the code because, again, the cancer sometimes is in his brain. Well, is in his brain. He can't remember the code. I said, yeah. I said, well, I just left there. And he told me he put a code on there. And I said, well, can you give me the number so I can call them and see if I can figure out some information from the insurance company? She said, well, we just got off the phone with them. We had to pay his cell phone bill anyway, so we did. Backtrack, sis. You paid your cell phone bill this month? Mind you, he had just told me Friday he had paid it, and that's why he didn't have the $200. He said, yeah, we've been paying his cell phone since you put him in the hotel. To help you out, not having wait a minute. So the $220-something that I'm leaving him extra per month to get him through the whole month of his little Bud Light, his cigarettes, his quote unquote cell phone, life insurance policy, emergency funds, in case he have to ever go to the ER and he can't find the transportation system, he can have money for Uber, etc., etc. You're telling me that you've been paying your cell phone bill since he's been here? Yes, he can tell you that. I said, no. She said, I'm glad you called because this is what we're dealing with. She said every week, which is true. This is true. Every week, either he's falling and he's breaking the phone, or she said he's drinking way more than usual. So I don't know if he's falling because he's drinking or falling because of the cancer and he's weak. But every week, we're buying him a new phone, and it is so expensive because we buy him smartphones, right? And she said this is like the 4th phone in the last 2 months. So my parents, she's fairly young. She's I think 22. She said my parents are getting frustrated, So we decided we're going to just buy him a flip phone because this time he put a code in his phone. We can't remember the code, and we just can't doing this. So we're going to put boundaries up, and we're going to give him a $19 flip phone. He can't have internet access, but it will just be for him to call and make calls, which I totally agree with. But I want to get him another one the way I'm feeling right now. But whatever. So I had just left Steve's room. I turned my truck around. If I'm honest, I had to pray before I went. I had to pray before I went up in that hotel room. Because listen, my flesh was on 10. And again, he'd never seen me like that. That's the whole point. People think great people and godly people and people who love the Lord. And keep in mind, I'm not saved, sanctified, holy, 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 right? No, I just love God. The girl is still flawed. He's working on me, right? Okay. But I had to pray before I went up in that room. Woo! And then I got halfway down the hallway and God told me to get back in my truck and pray again because obviously my flesh was still ignited before I... Sorry, guys. I got to turn on my notifications. Okay, so I knocked on the door, right? Because I left my key in the truck. I knock on the door. He answered the door with his walker. He only uses the walker when he knows someone's like knocking at the door. He's supposed to be using it all the time, but whatever. That's why he fell and bumped his head the first time. So he opened the door. Hey, Miss Kizzy. I said, sit down. So the look on his face, he knew something was up. He sat on his couch. I got a chair, like a table chair, and I pulled it up in front of his face, turned the TV off, looked him directly in his eyes. I said, I just left here not long ago. Yeah, Miss Kizzy, what did I do? I said, I didn't even say that, just look at him. I said, you told me when I asked you where in the world your $220-something went less than a week and a half. You told me you paid your cell phone bill, your thing bill. Yeah. I said, I just talked to Meredith. And he just looked at me. I said, didn't I tell you when I walked out here Friday that I was feeling something in my spirit? I couldn't tell you what it is, but God told me you were up to some foolishness. And when I find out what it is, I'm cutting you off for life. Because truth be told, God said not to let you freeze to death. It's warm. Oh, you're going back behind Rite Aid. Because you're not going to freeze to death. You might be covered in pollen, but you rather than ice, but you won't freeze to death. I said you blatantly lied in my face. You blatantly took my money, even though you're constantly making sure that you find every source to give me money, right? And I'm grateful for that. He does that. But why are you using other sources or looking for other sources to give me money? And you're taking my money that I really could be taking all of your money. But this heart and foolish emotions of mine, trusting that you're using this money to pay a cell phone bill. Because I didn't have no other reason to think he would lie about a cell phone bill or to even know that someone else was paying it. You blatantly lied and stole my money. Then, as I was coming in, the gentleman at the front counter, because they like to keep me up on what you're doing, asked me to tell you to stop buying him Waffle House because he doesn't like waffle. Ooh, I'm laughing now, honey, but let me tell you something. He doesn't even like waffles, and he asked you that when you go down there and buy your little whatever you buy down there to stop bringing him waffles, and you keep bringing him waffles. So now God is showing me exactly where this extra money is going. It's going towards beer, cigarettes, waffles that he won't even eat, your Waffle House, lotto tickets. And that's why you broke. But you lied in my face. He was just quiet, right? Mind you, I'm almost not nose to nose because, of course, I'm back, but I'm looking him dead in his eyes. Of course, his head is down because now he can't even say anything. I got up. I got my keys. I said, today is Sunday. That meant they ran my card on Saturday, yesterday. So you're already paid up for a week. I said, start packing your stuff. Everything. Because this will be your last week in this hotel. You go find your friends and you let them know that you're going back behind the Rite Aid. Because you chose to dishonor and disrespect the vessel that has been the greatest to you. You honored the first 2 to 3 months. But now we're in month 5. Now you got comfortable. But I begged you to never, ever, ever let me get to this point. We had this conversation 16, 17 times. But because you only see how I move, you thought I would never. Pack your ish. I got my keys. I left out the door. Mind you, his cell phone was broken at this point, so he couldn't even call me. And if he had a cell phone, he would be on block. Right? Sunday when I got home, my spirit was so disturbed because it still comes back to I don't understand, why do people not recognize when God uses people to pick them out and bless them? Do you know how many homeless people are in the area, in the world, that God can say that one? God chose you. And you dishonor. I don't care how comfortable you've gotten. You dishonored that God gave you opportunity to come up out of freezing cold weather so you can get yourself right with Him. And you dishonored me by lying and taking my hard working money? I got halfway down the hall. I backtracked. I think I might have walked backwards. I was walking so fast. I opened that door again. He was still sitting on the couch. I said, let me rephrase what I said. I said, God chose you. He blessed you. He saved your life. And you dishonored me, his vessel. I'm going to change that. Or I'll add to that. I'm going to put me second. You dishonored God. At this point, I don't even care about me per se. But if you know what I know, you better have a conversation with God. I left. Steve haven't seen me since, and Steve will not see me. I had every intention, because now I feel nothing. I feel there's nothing. I feel nothing. No emotions, no nothing. I do pray that he makes it into heaven and that he continues to get his life together. But I had every intention on sending Steve back behind Rite Aid. Now, if I'm honest, my heart would not have been able to allow me to go pack him up and drop him off myself. Oh, I'll just send somebody for him. I couldn't do it, but I promise you I'll just send somebody for him. But then on Monday, when I had that meeting with the gentleman who had decided to help with his room, and I told him, you listen, listen. And he said, well, Kizzy, if you have help, can you stay? By all means, because it's not my money. By all means. Now, let me backtrack, because I'm going to be honest. I would not have put him back behind the Rite Aid because he's too physically weak to even survive being outdoors, regardless if it's cold. And I know some of you are probably saying, that's his problem. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But what I would have done and what I was going to do was, he does get $700 and somewhat per month. So I was going to go and find some, I don't care if it was a rat motel that charges $10.99 per night. He would have been there, meaning he would have been paying for his own room. And if he chose not to, then that was on him. Right? But he likes to be, we're in the suburb area. He feels more safe from what his daughter told me, he's always felt safe in this area per se. But listen, if I would have to go dig a hole myself, he would have been up in somebody's roach motel. Trust me when I tell you, I don't care what side of town it was on. He would have been in a roach motel, and I promise you, my emotions would have been so disconnected from it. So because this gentleman, who's also a beautiful spirit, but first of all, he's a man, right? He's a man, so Steve ain't gonna just play with him all kind of way. And next, you can tell that he's mastered that I can serve, but my emotions are not in it. Right? He's a man. Men, I don't know. I guess men and women are different in the sense of emotions, so I get that. So he helped me to understand very, very clear boundaries, things like that. So as of today, he's covering Steve's room for the next month. The $500 a week that Steve pulls out, I don't know why, but he pulls cash out and hand it to me. I'm going to have him give it to this gentleman. And the gentleman will just, we'll figure that out. And the gentleman is good at keeping me just updated in general. Like, okay, he took Steve out to lunch yesterday, whatever. Steve had food. There's no reason for Steve to call me. Steve have nothing. I'm not paying for his room right now. The gentleman is. I don't even care about food at this point. He can figure his own life out. The only reason for anyone to contact me is that will be the front desk in regards to, of course, the room, or if they see any ambulance or fire trucks going in and out. That way, that's that. Oh, I'm done. And he got his cell phone back yesterday because the young lady who bought him the cell, she was able to get back to his old cell phone, but he's on block. He can't call me. He may walk up to the front desk and attempt to call me, but I've already told them he is not to call my phone. Period. period. Ever. Period. So, boundaries. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.